Hello everyone and welcome to yet another Schmeat video. Today I'm going to be talking about a little bit more about the Charlotte Hornets head coaching search because it is a big topic of discussion and of the offseason of the Hornets is who is going to be our next coach. We had James Borrego, and although he developed talent, which I will argue that the talent developed itself, we fired him. He was with us for 3 or 4 seasons, and that's one of our top priorities this offseason is to find a new head coach who especially emphasizes defense and emphasizes playing hard, because those two factors are what we really need, because we were a top 5 offense last season, and the season before we were a top 10 offense in the league. We don't have to worry about offense on the Charlotte Hornets. It's more about our defensive mindset and really getting our guys to buy in, especially the young guys, because nobody wants to play defense. They grew up in AAU basketball. So, yeah. Now, I'm making this video because not only to talk about other head coaches, because there is other head coaches in the mix. I've heard rumblings of the Miami Heat assistant coach. I'm blanking on his name, but he's been in the mix for a couple of teams. Ham just got his job with the Lakers, which he was very high with me, and with a lot of other Hornets fans on Twitter as well, who wanted to bring him in because he was just that kind of guy who he was on the top of the board for a lot of teams, and he ended up going to the Lakers. I don't know if I was a head coach, if I'd want to be on the Lakers over the Hornets just because of the publicity. You have Russ to deal with. You have LeBron basically being a head coach. Anthony Davis, day-to-day Davis, barely being out there. Or would you rather be with an exciting, young, coachable team in Charlotte? I think I'd want to be in Charlotte, but that's neither here nor there. Quin Snyder, that is the topic of discussion. He's on the thumbnail. He just quit being a head coach for the Utah Jazz. In the report, it says that Danny Ainge, who was the CEO person for the Boston Celtics, and then when he got kind of booted out of there because the Celtics, underperformed for a number of years, he went to the Utah Jazz to be their CEO. It says in this report. I don't know if it goes by that term or a different term. Danny Ainge said they desperately wanted Quin Snyder to stay. Now that says a lot. When your head guy wants you to stay. Donovan Mitchell also says he was surprised and disappointed that Quin Snyder left. So this was not a situation where his team wanted him to go if he was, not being a good head coach, not trying to push their team to the next level, because I think he did all that he could with the pieces he was dealt, and management trading away Joe Ingles, not really getting much in return. Stuff like that happened this season, which makes sense that Quin Snyder wouldn't want to stay. And I think he realizes the cap that this team has, and he realizes that there's a possibility Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert don't work out, and there's a possibility of them being traded for picks, or maybe for a player that's less of their status. And why would you want to be a coach for that kind of team under that kind of turmoil? So I think it makes sense for Quin Snyder to leave. But does he open his eyes to another head coaching job? Because some of these coaches take a year or two off and then step back into it. I think of Mike D'Antoni, who went and was an assistant head coach, and I believe he was an assistant head coach for the 76ers or the Nets. It was the Nets because it was with Steve Nash, which Mike D'Antoni is another prospect for the Charlotte Hornets job, although he doesn't really stress defense at all. But I can see us playing the James Harden style of offense. But Quin Snyder, if he was hired by the Utah Jazz in 2014, and if you look at their record since 2014, they've gotten considerably better. His first year there, they finished 15th in the West, and these last 2 seasons, they finished first in 2020 to 2021, and 5th in this season. So improvement throughout the years. After the 2014-2015 season, they never finished below 10th, and after the 17th season, they never finished below 6th. So there's consistency there. And obviously, if you look at the playoff performances, they don't look great. 3 first-round exits in the last, three first-round exits in the last 5 years. And they haven't gone to the conference finals under him, which doesn't look promising. But obviously, it's the Utah Jazz. They have Donovan Mitchell, Rudy Gobert, not really much other than that. And you have the Warriors in the West, and it's kind of hard. But we're not looking to go to the finals his first year, or any coach we can get. We're not looking to go to the finals. That is not the expectation in Charlotte. The expectation is to make it to the playoffs. And if we can't make it to the playoffs by record, win in the play-in and then make it in the playoffs. That is the expectations. We set the bar low. We haven't been back in the playoffs in 6 years. And Quin Snyder could help our team defensively, which I would really love our head coach to come in and do. And Mike D'Antoni does not stress defensive business. Like, you look at the Houston Rockets teams led under him. They were not good defensively. Obviously, they had good defensive pieces, Patrick Beverley, Montrezl Harrell, Trevor Ariza on those teams, but I would really like Quin Snyder to go to the Charlotte Hornets. I think he's an experienced head coach. He can coach up the young guys. It's a fairly easy job with low expectations, which he's coming from a job with high expectations. You have 2 All-NBA players. You have a Defensive Player of the Year guy in Rudy Gobert, and you can't make it out of the first round in 3 of the past 5 years. The only expectation you have for the Charlotte Hornets is to not lose by 30 in the play-in. I think that's pretty good, and that's pretty stress-free as it gets. Anyways, that's that little update on what's going on with the Charlotte Hornets head coaching position. Do I think we get Quin Snyder? I don't think we get him. But that's my guy. That's number 1 right now. Just because I think he has a good demeanor about him. He doesn't get too high, he doesn't get too low. He's not this crazy head coach on the sidelines. Low controversy, knows what to say. There was some clips of James Borrego where he'd be after the games and he'd just be shitting on our young guys. And I don't know if that's trying to build up their confidence or build up their grit, but I don't think that's what the young guys want to hear after the game if you lose by 20. And I think Quin Snyder is experienced enough to know the ins and outs of the NBA by now. And yeah, he's number 1 on my board right now, so we'll see what happens. But yeah. That's it for me. Thanks for watching.